you tell I'm in denial?
You can't stay at the top forever.
I was also very surprised when I looked at my phone and saw Joe Girardi dismissed.
Well, I think mine were with common sense.
I think now belongs in the all-time greats top 10.
Boston, I really think only got to this point because of a guy named Chris Middleton being out for the Bucks.
That power play just was unbearable. It was humming.
Man, am I happy. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew he was going to come back.
When I think of New York Yankees now is Judge, probably people in the past when Jeter was coming up.
I would be shocked. A little bit hurt.
Hey, this is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, TexasFootball.com, and Valley Sports Southwest. You are listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. We already did a Bengals video talking about their Thursday night performance and how you can't really blame the defense. It is a bad defense, but they're also facing the guy we were talking about now and just his stacked offense, Lamar Jackson. And the man I'm, of course, talking to, Austin.
Yeah. So this has been a great season for Lamar. After winning the MVP last year, this year he has as many touchdown passes as he had last year. His offense has been incredible with the addition of Derrick Henry. They've made some trades, and they just look dominant. And it really brings up the question, can he win another MVP?
I think he can win another MVP. I don't know who the leader is right now because there are a lot of names. People have floated Jared Goff, which I think, given his performance, and did you know about the Lions? The Lions have scored more touchdowns than incompletions from Jared Goff over like the
during
past
their win streak, I think it is.
Yeah, during their win streak. It's 28 touchdowns, 24 incompletions. So I think Jared Goff is in there, but when you look at Lamar Jackson, he just has that wow factor. And there was I don't think it was a touchdown, but he got it to the 1 yard line where he dances around and got to the goal line. He just couldn't get it through. That offense really is a monster, especially with Derrick Henry. They do have, I would say, a better wide receiving core. It looks like Zay Flowers is a threat at some games, but they also have Deontay Johnson. It's not a heavy passing attack. It never was, but I think it is a valid and reasonable.
And Mark Andrews has really come on. He's been much better recently, and they have a receiving back in Justice Hill. I've seen a lot of people talk about Derrick Henry also for MVP, and I'd love to see that. It's just going to be hard for a running back on the same team as a QB doing well to win it over. Derrick Henry's having a monster season. He could get 2,000 yards again. It would not be out of the realm of possibility. The problem is the guys he has on his team, Lamar, could take away that thunder from him.
Yeah, I would love it because Lamar is blowing me away, but it still takes a while for an MVP. It's not like with the NBA where it's always a talk, but to me, there is a competition. I would love it if it didn't go to a quarterback. That was kind of my thing last year, but I do think Lamar Jackson is great, and he is the most valuable player. He is you could argue who's more valuable, Jackson and Henry, but to me, I think you and I are both going to agree it's Jackson.
Yeah, I feel like, it's the harder position to play. It's the one that's most impactful. He's the one that can adjust the plays at line of scrimmage. So he has an impact on the game that can really only be felt as a QB. But Derrick Henry has been a monster this season, and it definitely is a season where he is one of the most valuable players in the world. But
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, to me, what makes Jackson so special is not only his running ability just purely off a read option, it's his ability to extend the play. But I do think having Henry helps him running with the option more, but he just has those highlight plays that push him into that MVP conversation.
Yeah, that's a fair way to look at it. What would it mean for his career to have, this would be his third MVP, it'd be back-to-back MVPs. What would that mean for him and how people view him after his career ends?
So, depending on where his career ends, especially in postseason success, you would look at he's a great regular season guy, but not playing well in the postseason. But it is pretty incredible. 3 MVP awards. I did also want to talk about 2 years ago was when he was basically available if someone was willing to pay him a bunch of money and trade 2 first round picks. I remember I was a big fan of that, even though a lot of people weren't buying into it.
That seems like a fever dream that happened. I know it did. I know it did. But it just seems like a fever dream that happened. And now since then, he's had 2 incredible seasons.
2 incredible seasons. There were injury concerns. I do think, did he have an injury last year?
No.
Did he sit out a game? Oh, no. Okay.
He may sit out one game, but I think if he did, it was probably just for playoffs rest reasons. I don't think he missed a game legitimately.
Okay, yeah, because that was questions about him. This season, they talked about he's at a lighter weight. So to me, this would be pretty incredible because he was a guy on the market. People were still questioning him. I was questioning him. I think he was in my top 5, maybe my top 6. He wasn't pushing top 3 quarterback. I think people were mentioning that, but it was questionable for him. So 3 MVPs would give him quite a resume as just a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, he's definitely a future Hall of Famer because 2 MVPs. I think it's practically impossible to miss the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. Would you agree with that?
Especially in the NFL, a lot of guys make the Hall of Fame. It's not as selective as the most selective is the MLB.
Yeah, by far. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of MVP winners that are in the Hall of Fame for the MLB. But with Lamar, I do think the legacy for QB is made in the postseason. I think it's the big reason why it's bar none Brady as the greatest quarterback of all time, despite the fact that he only has 3 MVPs to like a guy's like Peyton's 5. But Peyton did not even have close to the amount of success as Brady. Brady far more Super Bowls, and if you look at some of the Super Bowls or the second Super Bowl Peyton that won, he threw 9 touchdown passes that season and was kind of carried by his defense. So Lamar has to win titles. I would say multiple titles for him to cement himself as a top 10 QB of all time or some crazy conversation like that, because postseason is really where a QB is made.
Yeah, and from what I'm looking at, it looks like how many because I'm curious if he wins 3rd, which I'm wondering. We saw this with Jokic in the NBA. There is that voter fatigue. I'm wondering. He definitely has a case for me. I'm wondering if he doesn't get MVP because it would be his back-to-back MVP. It'd be his 3rd MVP, and not many players have 3 MVPs in the NFL.
Yeah. Rodgers, Brady, Peyton. That's the 3 that come to mind immediately.
Like, I don't think Mahomes has 3 MVPs.
No, Mahomes has 2.
He has 2. I'm trying to confirm. I think Joe Montana has 2, but I can't remember. He has won it twice. Joe Montana's 2nd best quarterback of all time. Super Bowl success, but only has 2 MVPs. So this would be quite an accomplishment for Lamar. And a guy
Steve Young has 2. Brett Favre has 3, but one of them was a co-vote with Barry Sanders. Him and Barry Sanders win it. Peyton obviously has 5. Yeah, Mahomes has 2. 2018 and 2022.
Yeah.
The only guys who have more than him are Peyton and Aaron Rodgers. The guys he would be tied with if he did win would be Johnny Unitas, Jim Brown, Tom Brady, and Brett Favre.
And that's some rarefied air, just all time, not including the postseason success. So it'd be quite remarkable if Lamar Jackson won his 3rd MVP. There's still a lot of time to tell, but this was a guy where he was sort of available and teams were just like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, people have doubted him his entire career, and he's come back better than ever. We really will have to see what happens with Lamar. I do think right now he is my favorite just because of how good he's been. But there's a lot of cases for a lot of guys. We'll definitely do a MVP sort of prediction video sooner rather than later because the race is getting close.
Yeah, and make sure you're following along. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for those notifications. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.